Is this going to be a pattern? I don't necessarily know. However, I will say, let's just say, player sitting back up at a big time program, but then their coach, their offensive coordinator, the guy who recruited them, goes to an FCS program. Don't put it past them then. What is up, everybody? It is Jake with Master Football, back at it again. Happy Tuesday. Thank you so much for being here. If you want to be up to date on all things college football, pro football, Madden, EA college football, anything related to American football, hit that red subscribe button. It won't cost you a thing. All it's going to cost you is being up to date on all of those things. Hit the like button as well. Like and subscribe. Without further ado, let's get into the video. So, guys, there was a report that came out just last morning that was very, very interesting because it's starting to, I don't know if it's starting to, but it is furthering along the narrative that it doesn't necessarily matter which level of football you play, granted, as long as you're successful and you do things well. We go out west to the University of Washington because a former top quarterback is transferring, and remember here, he's a top quarterback. He was a top 5 player in the country at the position, and he's going down to the FCS level. ESPN.com, Adam Rittenberg, yesterday morning at 9:40 a.m., ex-Washington Huskies QB Sam Huard to transfer to Cal Poly. Former Washington quarterback Sam Huard, ESPN's highest-rated quarterback prospect in the 2021 recruiting class, will transfer to Cal Poly and reunite with his high school coach. We're going to get back to that point right there because it's very interesting to see that going forward, and the fact that who the coach is, wherever the school is, I don't want to say it's irrelevant, but it doesn't matter as much. Quarterback, coach, familiarity, they really like that. Huard, who entered the transfer portal January 10th, announced his destination Monday on KRIO radio in Seattle during a show co-hosted by his uncle, the former Washington NFL quarterback Brock Huard. Sam is the son of former Washington NFL quarterback Damon Huard. He heads to Cal Poly, an FCS program in San Luis Obispo, California, and will play under new offensive coordinator Sheldon Cross, who coached Huard at Kennedy Catholic High School in Burien, Washington. Huard set a state high school passing record and finished with 13,214 passing yards and 153 touchdowns. In December, Cal Poly promoted Paul Wolf, the former head coach at Washington State, to lead his program following Bo Baldwin's departure to Arizona State. Rated as the number 15 prospect in the class of 2021, Sam Huard played 2 seasons at Washington and recorded 265 passing yards and a touchdown and 4 interceptions. His most field time came in 2021 finale against Washington State, a 40-13 Washington loss. And again, it mentions this next point here, which is a big reason why he probably transferred. Last fall, Huard played behind Michael Penix, the nation's leader in passing yard average, who will return in 2023. He saw action in only 1 game this past season. So Huard, remember that, he said one of the top players in the country when he was recruiting in 2021, comes back. Michael Penix transfers from Indiana, absolutely lights it up, leads the nation in passing. Remember here, okay, not only that does he have to play by him, who, by the way, if you're looking at this report right here, according to CBSSports.com, of the 2023 NFL Draft top 20 college football players who spurned the pros to return for another season, number 1 was Michael Penix. So the nation's leading passing yards per game, comes back. Remember, when he played at Indiana, he had a lot of injuries and things like that with his knees, but he ultimately comes back, absolutely lights it up with Washington. So Huard doesn't want to play behind him. In addition to, oh boy, our dear friend Jaden Rashada's name comes back up. So remember, Jaden Rashada signed a 4-year, $13 million NIL deal, and they had mentioned, there were some reports out there that the money wasn't necessarily backed up, this and that, but it ultimately falls through after he signs his letter of intent. He asked to be released. He's no longer going to Florida. Pittsburgh, California is where he's from. Bay Area to Seattle, not too far of a distance, and a quick flight up there. So it looks like not only would he have to play behind Michael Penix, but Jaden Rashada, the 4-star, is coming up on his heels, and he decides to get out of Dodge. And remember, we all are freaking out about this thing. Over here on 247 Sports, and again, there's multiple different recruiting sites that have him ranked here, but he was the number 3 quarterback in the country, the number 23 quarterback nationally, or the number 23 player nationally, and the 247 composite had him as the number 12 player nationally. He's number 249th player of all time. He is a 99.35 score. He is absolutely a 5-star quarterback headed down to the FCS level. And by the way, where he's heading, he's basically guaranteed playing time. So for all of you familiar with the Big Sky Conference over here, and again, I am, my brother lives in Bozeman with Montana State. My sister lives in Missoula with University of Montana. So they're very, very aware of how they're doing out there. But you see Sacramento State, Montana State, Weber State, what was that, 12-1, 12-2, 10-3. Check all the way down there at the bottom. And again, Idaho State, love my boys out there in Pocatello. But we see Cal Poly, 1-7, 2-9 overall, 0-6 away. Had a really, really tough season there. They scored 241 points. They gave up 467. So they're going to need to score some points. That's one of the worst defenses in the Big Sky Conference there. So we'll see what happens with them, man. But I'm telling you right now, he's going to play right away, and he's going to turn it around pretty quick, I bet. So you come over here and check their schedule this next season. So we have Central Washington, which is a lower-level team. You're going to play them at home at San Jose State. San Jose State actually had a decent year this past season. Then they go at Portland State, UC Davis, Idaho Vandals, Montana State, Northern Colorado, Eastern Washington, Sac State, Weber State, and then San Diego Torero. So again, that game right there is kind of subject to the only game that really is going to be a tough one in terms of a higher level team is going to be at San Jose State there. That'll be tough, but you see, not necessarily a too difficult schedule. At Montana State, it's going to be hard. At Sacramento State, that's going to be. However, they did just lose their head coach. So it's really interesting there. But again, you see that there's no big payout game. There's no Alabama. There's no USC, things like that. So 5-star quarterback, lower level team comes in, his former head coach, offensive coordinator. They might have a decent turnaround this next season. I think it's really interesting to look at that perspective here. So if you think about that, one of the top players in the country deciding to transfer to an FCS program. Now remember here, I want to make sure that we're clear. You bring up, this makes me think of Deion Sanders going to Jackson State. Jackson State is a SWAC team. However, remember that with the SWAC team, they are technically still an FCS program. They didn't play a lot of those payout games or things like that. Deion Sanders was very against those. But you see the fact that Travis Hunter, number one player in the country, Shadir Sanders, his son, 4-star, goes to him. Travis Hunter, number one player in the country, goes to him as well. And you think that, why would he do that? Why would he ruin his exposure there? I think that nowadays with social media and access to players and this and that, especially with, I'm telling you, the Big Sky Conference is pretty loaded out there in the FCS ranks, obviously. You're thinking that Huard is thinking like he's a 5-star player. He's trying in line to go to the NFL, something like that. He wants to play. So what are his options there? He could go to, maybe a Big Sky Conference team. He could go to maybe a Pac-12 team. Again, there's lots of the teams out there in the Pac-12 that need quarterbacks. But he ultimately decides to go all the way down to Cal Poly, a bad FCS team in the Big Sky Conference. But I'm thinking here, you think about how quickly a program can turn around with a couple players, and you think about how important it is to have a good coach. I mean, go over to Jackson State and see what they were before Deion Sanders got there. So collegefootballresults.com, this is definitely like, Windows 7, right, or Windows 1 here. They put this on, but you see this down here. So Deion came here for the 2020 season. So you check the 2019 season, they were 4-8, 5-5, 3-8, 3-8, 3-8, 8-5-7, 8-4 in 2013. So definitely have some struggles there. 2020 shortened season, go 4-3. 2021 11-2, and then 2022 12-1. You're hoping that Cal Poly, get the Huard kid in there, can have a really good turnaround. You're hoping to have that same success there because it looks like the only way is up for Cal Poly. Again, this is a quicker video here. I just think it's really interesting there that you see the fact that top flight 5-star players willing to go down to the FCS ranks if you get the coach that you want. Travis Hunter goes to the Deion Sanders, goes down there to the FCS ranks. And now Huard is going down there to the FCS ranks as well. So really interesting to see that there. Is this going to be a pattern? I don't necessarily know. However, I will say, let's just say, player sitting back up at a big-time program, but then their coach, their offensive coordinator, the guy who recruited them, goes to an FCS program. Don't put it past them then. There's plenty of exposure out there, and there's plenty of ability to be seen. I wouldn't be surprised if, and again, I don't think this is the first or the last, but I do definitely know that it's probably going to be a growing trend of players just wanting to go out there and play, because especially for quarterback, playing is way better than sitting out behind redshirting. And again, if you're a project quarterback, you're really athletic, but you need to hone some skills in, that might be an exception there. But for the most part, you get better playing. Huard wants to go down to the FCS ranks, and I'm telling you, they're probably going to be chucking the ball all over the place. 13,000 yards in high school. I can't imagine what he's going to do against some of those lower-level defenses in the Big Sky Conference. His level of competition with him is going to be a little bit lower, but I'm telling you right now, I wouldn't be surprised if he lights it up, man. All right, guys, what do you guys think of this whole situation? Do you think it's just a mirage? This is just two players. We're not going to see any more 5-star players go down to the FCS ranks, or do you think we might start to see a pattern in certain instances Get in the comments right now and let me know. All right, guys, that's it. Thank you so much for being here. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. I appreciate it. That's it for me, guys. I will see you guys later. I am out.